Hello, this is Fran Smitherman with Creative Life Scrapbooking, here to share a few tips about how to distress elements on your page. And distressing elements isn't anything new, but this September 27th featured Project Friday layout that I created made me start thinking about all the different ways that we have distressed over the years. It's also kind of perfect with vintage chic coming back out again. It is not always something that we do on our pages. It might take something unique where we need something to have a crumpled or a worn look. But there are things that we have right at our disposal that aren't any special tools that we can easily use to do this. So I will talk about just a few of them here, and hopefully it'll inspire you to try something new on your pages that maybe you haven't done before. So we'll work up to how I made the kisses in just a minute, but I wanted to start with one of the most basic distressing techniques that there is, and that is tearing. So if you look at this page that I made from years ago, I think this is an older project recipe, very simple layout. These are my photos of my grandfather, and all I did to make this page was tear this down the middle, and you can kind of see the white core coming through the paper where I tore it. And you can either just, tear it with your hands, or if you have one of Creative Memories tearing tools, they are wonderful, and you can just take whatever element it is and pull towards yourself, kind of press down and, pull towards yourself and towards the tool. And you get a really nice torn look. And I just think it's, even sharper, maybe a little bit more dramatic than if you were just to rip the paper in half. I can show you this other edge that's a little bit more dynamic with a few more zags and zigs. So let's see if we can do that. There we go. So very neat, just maybe a little bit more dramatic than if you had torn it by hand. So that's the tearing tool, or just the basic tearing technique. Another popular thing to do, if you don't have an actual distressing tool, I know we got a distressing tool in one of our secret boxes not too long ago, you can just use the edge of your scissors. And I know that there have been lots of videos showing this off, and all you really do is just kind of use the edge of your scissors to work your way around the sides, just kind of make it look a little beat up. I know that Karen and Melissa have both made beautiful layouts using this technique, maybe curling flowers up. It's really neat. But if you don't have an actual distressing tool, you do. It's your scissors. Use a scissors or a knife or something like that. And I think that gives you a real neat kind of grungy look to your paper. This is from Copper Canyon, which is one of the secret boxes a few months ago. Love it. And there you go. So use your scissors. Great way to give something a distressed look. You can also sand. So if you have sandpaper, great. This is from a long time ago. This is kind of like a sanding tool that we got from Creative Memories, and you can just rough up your paper even if you want. I'm just sanding that. You can do along the sides like the scissors, but that kind of helps tear things up, make it look a little beaten up, like maybe it's been through it. But there you go. So that's just, either you have this tool or you just use regular sandpaper that's in your garage. Now, this next one takes a little bit more courage, and I am afraid of fire burning my house down and all my scrapbooks, even though I have had them all scanned by forever, thank goodness. But I would say be careful with this one. That is to actually use flames. And I did it a little bit ago right here. It actually did catch fire. I had to kind of blow it out, run it under a sink. So if you are going to use fire to distress your paper, I would say make sure you're very close to a water source. The things that I have read said you can just kind of run the fire along the edge. I didn't find that really had much of an impact. It didn't really do much till I actually saw a little bit of smoke. I'm not going to do this. It is warm. So, I'm not going to do much with that one, but you can see if you really want something to look as though it is older, that is one thing that you can do. Just please be careful. Make sure you're near water when you do. Inking, that's a fun one. There was a time when Creative Memories had these chalking inks, and whenever they've brought them back or I've seen anybody selling them, I always try to scoop a few up because I do like them a lot. It really is a very easy way to make something professionally look distressed. And you can see where I've done it along the edges, but it's very controlled. If they are still in good shape, which they may or may not be, after a while they start to separate, from the base and run out of steam. But you can just kind of do this, do that. If you don't have these, you can try to use the edge of a dual tip pen, the bigger edge, I find that that takes a good bit of control not to slip and mess up and get lines where you don't. So on some of our PJ parties, we've shown some inking techniques where maybe you use a makeup wedge or you use a Q-tip, and that gives you a lot more control with your inks, your pens, things like that. So that's another way to do distressing with inks if you don't have the official chalking inks. And finally, let's get to the technique that inspired me to do this video in the first place, and that was how did I make these Hershey's Kisses? If you've ever seen a Hershey's Kiss, which I'm pretty sure you have, you know that the foil that's around them is kind of crinkly looking. So when I was trying to design these, I made the cuts first, which you can find the dimensions and everything in the handout on our website. But I was really struggling with how do I make it actually look, not flat. I mean, yes, it's silver, it's metallic foil, it's got that going on, but they just look too crisp for me. And I was trying to draw little lines, and that looked really cartoonish. And I finally came up with the idea of like, why don't I just take the foil and crumple it up? Just crumple it up as tight as I can, unfold it, and that voila gave me the exact look that I was looking for. And I have never done it with this copper shimmer before. And this also came from the Copper Canyon secret box. But wow, if this doesn't look like a golden ticket, I don't know what does. So I think I am going to go on with my candy motif and maybe use this for something else. So I hope all of those inspired you to try something to make your pages look a little rough around the edges. And thank you, as always, for following Creative Life Scrapbooking and supporting everything that we do so we can continue to bring you great ideas. Thanks.